everybody, I hope you're having a great day. It's rainy out here and at the house, and it's just a bad day to be out. So I thought I would work on my freezer, doing some things to help us when it's time to be outside on those beautiful days, and you want to have some convenience foods that you can just grab out of the freezer and just make some simple meals. So what I thought I would do today is make some meatballs to freeze. I love meatballs, and there's so many things that you can do with meatballs, but having to do all of the mixing and all of that and rolling those balls, and then after you get to that point, then you have to cook them. Well, it would be so nice to just have them already in the freezer, and all you have to do is take as many as you want out, and then you can go from there. So I am going to freeze meatballs today, and if you're interested, just stay with me, and if you would, watch to the end, and I'll give you the directions for how to cook those after you have frozen them, and it's a week or two or a month down the line, and you're ready to use those. Anyway, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is take about 2 pounds of ground meat. Now you can use ground beef for all of your meat, or you can do like I did. I had some ground beef, and I decided I wanted to add some ground pork to it. That just gives it a good flavor too, and so that's what I'm doing. So the first thing I'm doing is just kind of mixing up my meat, kind of getting all that together. And this is definitely something you will want to use you'll want to use gloves for. And then it's just a matter of dumping in the things that you need. You're going to want 2 beaten eggs, cup of milk. I'm going to start off with a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, and then I'll see where I go from there. And then here's my all of my spices and my cheese. What I'm using to this is 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese, and I just use the stuff out of the green can, or not can, but the green canister, the kind that the stinky cheese, my daddy always called it. And then you're going to need a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of onion powder. You're going to need a teaspoon of kosher salt, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And I used a 1/2 teaspoon of my homemade bell pepper powder that I make, that I'll link the video to show you where you can see how I do that. And then I also added a tablespoon of parsley, and I'm going to just dump all of that in here. And this is where you just got to get in there and just go for it. Now I start with a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, and I'm going to see if I like the consistency, and if I need to, I'll add just a little bit more. Now you can use your homemade breadcrumbs, or you can use store-bought. I have some just the Walmart Great Value plain breadcrumbs that I had on hand that I need to use up, and so that's what I'm using. And I would use the plain instead of the Italian, because you want to be able to you don't want it to be overpowering with your breadcrumbs being already seasoned, and then the seasonings that you're going to add. Let me just make sure that I like the way that all my meat is combined. Make sure I can keep my gloves on. Boy, this is really cold. That meat is so cold. You don't want to over mix, but you do want to make sure that everything's incorporated. And I think this is pretty good. So let me get washed up a little bit and clean up. And then I'm going to show you what I do to get these ready for either the freezer, or you could also go ahead at this point and just get them ready to bake off. But anyway, I'll be back in just a second and we'll go from there. And this is what the meat mixture looks like so far. Use a cookie scoop or spoon to make unified meatballs, and then place on a parchment lined cookie sheets. Okay, so we have 73 meatballs. And what we do next is we just, we're going to freeze them in the pan like this. You want to make sure that they're not touching so that they don't freeze together. And and probably about an hour or so, you just kind of have to watch. You'll be able to bag them up and you'll have individual meatballs. Now, at the end of, like I said, at the end of the video, I'll give the complete recipe with cooking instructions. Okay, so we're going to flash freeze these for about an hour, hour and a half, just, you know, until you can be sure that they're not going to stick together. Okay, and as you can see, I've taken the frozen meatballs out and just use a freezer safe container, or as you can see, I use Ziploc bags, and make sure that you mark the month and what's in there. And I would say these would be good for at least 2 to 3 months. You might can get longer, but they won't last that long. So what about that? 73 meatballs in the freezer. And if you would give me a like for this video, if you would share it, if you would subscribe to my channel, and also click the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the videos that I have coming up, I would appreciate that so much. I just always want all of you to know that we might be a little channel, but we're growing, and it's all because of you guys. I want to thank each and every one of you so much for all of your support, and you know, we'll just keep doing this and just see what comes up next. But anyway, let's go stock our freezers, y'all. If you have anything that you would like to see me make, or ideas that you have for freezer meals or components to meals, or any videos that you would like to see, just comment below. If you make meatballs and freeze those and you have a different recipe, if you would give me that comment in below too, because I would love to try some different variations. I think meatballs are one of those things that can be so versatile. People always just think spaghetti and meatballs, but you can really come up with a lot of great dishes. You know, it's just a matter of having some of those things prepared ahead of time so that you don't feel overwhelmed, because I know sometimes I feel overwhelmed. I guess we all do. Look at this rosebud. Y'all see the rosebud? Look at that little rear end. This is her perch. She loves to lay on the back of this sofa and just look outside, or just kind of lay and check out her domain, make sure there's not any squirrels that are around.